Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of Crunch Time with Kruck. To my right, your left is Mad Max, Max Williams. I am Jacob Krukenberg. Starting off, we have some breaking news. Max, what we got?
Kruck, to start off with, we are going to talk about this Sunday is going to be the 63rd running of the Daytona 500. Some of the big names we're looking at in the Daytona 500 is Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Austin Dillon, and Denny Hamlin, who's looking for a three-peat, Kruck. So we'll see if he can get it done and help this team out a lot. My winner's prediction is one of my fan favorites is Kyle Busch. You know what I mean? I've always liked Kyle Busch and how he plays. The M&M car, one of my favorites, man. No, it should be exciting. I hope he gets the dub, and it should be exciting to be what happens down Daytona.
For my section of breaking news, J.J. Watt has requested and has been granted a release from the Houston Texans. The three-time Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt, has 5 most likely places that he will land, one of them being Green Bay. Green Bay is 90 minutes away from his home in Milwaukee, where his wife, Kiana Watt, is 90 minutes away from Chicago, where she is a professional soccer player. Amongst the other places where he could possibly land, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Dallas Cowboys, the Baltimore Ravens, and most likely is the Pittsburgh Steelers, which, if you don't know, already have 2 other Watt brothers on the team. 3 Watts don't make a right, but they might make a championship. Speaking of championships, the Super Bowl just ended. We talked about that the first time. Let's wrap it up now. So the Super Bowl just ended. Tampa Bay went in and just absolutely made fun of the Chiefs. Being in Kansas City, it was hard to watch, but being a Bears fan, I was okay with it. Tom Brady won his 7th Super Bowl, his 5th Super Bowl MVP, and his party afterwards might have also won him a performance award. Max.
Kruck, I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're in the Chiefs' kingdom right now, and I'm looking at the offensive alignment, I mean, Mitchell Schwartz, Eric Fisher, I mean, those were big names, right? Those were big names. They weren't there in the game. Obviously, they were injured. With Fisher, he had a torn ACL, so it really hurt him to get back in the game. And they didn't look comfortable. You know what I mean? And it feels like you saw the Chiefs all year. They felt comfortable with blocking for Mahomes. He had the magic to escape the pocket and really help the team out. It just didn't happen. Like, I give a lot of credit to the Buccaneers defense, right? I mean, Devin White just went off. I mean, he just went off. He had 12 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 8 solo tackles in the game. I mean, that's pretty incredible for Devin White. And Mahomes just threw 2 picks in the game. So that's obviously not going to get it done in a win. So I give the Buccaneers a lot of credit, give Tom Brady a lot of credit. I mean, he is the GOAT for a reason. And, you know, it was a great game to watch.
You mentioned Patrick Mahomes' 2 picks. I really don't think that was his fault. He was pressured a whole lot. He had over 490 scramble yards. That's including behind the line of scrimmage as well as in front of the line of scrimmage. But the big story, in my opinion, Gronkowski is back. Goes from winning a Super Bowl to then taking over the WWE to then coming back, winning a Super Bowl, and tying Jerry Rice's record for most touchdowns in a single Super Bowl. The Buccaneers' defense, though, is nothing short of amazing. The Buccaneers' defense shut down the best offense in the NFL. They started the season 15th overall, and they ended it 6th overall. They did not allow a single touchdown in the Super Bowl, and they only gave up 270 yards and caused 2 interceptions.
Kruck, when you saw those stats, I mean, a lot of that had to do with their scheme of how they went against Patrick Mahomes, right? I mean, I thought they did a great job. They disguised him, a cover 2 look, 2 safety high. If you remember the first game, they played a lot of man-to-man, in my opinion. They played a lot of man-to-man against Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. In this game, a lot of zone, and it really tricked up Mahomes of what his first read was, his second read, and all those reads that were happening. So Mahomes, it was different, right? So that means they got to figure out a way, right? So I hope maybe there's other teams in the future that figure out the Chiefs' weakness, right? That figure out maybe Mahomes he's good, but he's human, right? You know, there's mistakes that happens with him. So it's, you know, give the Buccaneers a lot of credit. They did a great job, and it's sad for Chiefs Kingdom. So
the big question coming out of the game, did this game tarnish Patrick Mahomes' reputation? Absolutely not.
No.
He's a great player. He had no time in the pocket, as we mentioned, and if you watch the game, it was obvious as well. He did a great job throwing the ball. Even when he was completely inverted, he threw the ball through a wide receiver's hands and it hit their face mask. Not much better you can throw the ball. Was pressured all the time. Was hurt, and he powered through it. He'll definitely be back sometime soon, and Andy Reid will probably be back with him.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when he was hurt, I thought a lot of that with the turf toe, right? A lot of people were asking about, was it the concussion or was it the turf toe that was the real problem with it? To me, I thought it was more the turf toe, right? Because his mobility just didn't look the same. And I thought that was a big key in how Mahomes was playing, the offense was playing, and how the whole team looked. Because like I said, one player can make a difference in the game, Kruck. And when one player doesn't do it for your team, it just doesn't work out. So that's how it is, man.
It was definitely a tough game. Bruce Arians and Tom Brady are definitely ready to run it back, though. Gronkowski will probably be with them, but Chris Godwin has been in some trade rumors or free agency rumors, depending upon what you want to call them. We'll see if he's back, but Tampa Bay is still my favorite to repeat Super Bowls if they make it next year.
We'll see what happens, Kruck. Kruck, we're going to transition now. We're going to keep it in the NFL. We're going to talk about – last week we talked about Deshaun Watson. Trade rumors went this way. Well, now we're talking about Carson Wentz, right? Well, Carson Wentz, right now, he's looking to be traded away from the Eagles in the coming days. Right now, it looks like it's happening because of the power struggle between Peterson and him. It just didn't look like they were synced through the whole season. Right now, the top two teams look like it's going to be the Colts and your Chicago Bears, Kruck. So we'll see. So, Kruck, do you think these are the two teams that are the best options for him? You think there's like a wild card team that might want to get Carson Wentz?
Well, Carson Wentz is definitely on a downhill from what he has been. People call him a regular season quarterback, and that is pretty true. In the postseason, he hasn't done as well as other quarterbacks, a.k.a. Nick Foles. But the Colts and the Chicago Bears would be two great destinations for him to go. The Colts have a lot of things going their way as of recently. Number 11th when it comes to defense. They have a great wide receiver core if T.Y. Hilton decides to come back. If he doesn't, they still have a mediocre core. They have a good O-line. They have a lot of young talent. All they're missing is a great quarterback. They thought they had it last year with Phillip Rivers. Couldn't get it done. But with Carson Wentz coming in, if he can play how he used to play back in the 2016, 2017 days, he could be pretty good. The Chicago Bears, also likely to get Wentz. Mitch Trubisky has stated that he does not want to be a Chicago Bear anymore. A lot of Chicago Bear fans are not upset about this. Unfortunately, it's mostly because of Cody Parkey. When he missed a field goal in the postseason, everybody thought it was Trubisky's fault. It was partly his fault, but he wasn't the guy out there who swung the leg. Carson Wentz would not have a good career in Chicago. Chicago is a run-heavy team, and when they pass, it has to be accurate passes. Carson Wentz is the kind of guy that will throw a lot of passes and hopefully convert on 60 to 40% of them. The Bears need a quarterback who can convert 60 to 70% of them because they're not going to pass the ball all that often with running backs like David Montgomery and Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, right, Kruck? I mean, I look at the Colts, right? I mean, the Colts, they're a different team. You mentioned Phillip Rivers not being there, him retiring. What are they going to do with Jacoby Brissett, right? You don't know about free agency with right now. I also want to take a look at what the Colts have. You mentioned David Montgomery with the Bears, but the running back, Jonathan Taylor, I really like. He's a Wisconsin guy. He's very shifty, and he was a good first-year back for them. So that's another big piece for the Colts. The Bears, to me, is interesting because, you got Foles and you got Wentz. The two, they had a good time with each other when they made that run in Philadelphia. And the team, if you don't know this, Crook, the Bears also had this quarterback coach named John DeFilippo. And he used to be working with Wentz at 2016, 2017 when Wentz was in his glory years. So that's great to hear. Maybe you reunite with him, get him back to where he was, right? But like you said, he seems like he's a regular season kind of guy. Let's see if he can make it to the next level, right? If he can make it up to the postseason and help his team out. Like I said before with Deshaun, I mean, I mentioned wildcard teams, right? You never know with the Raiders, right? I always say this with Deshaun. I mean, the Raiders, maybe they want Deshaun, they don't know what to do with Derek Carr. Maybe they'll have to see with what trade capital they want to give up to give back possibly for Carson Wentz. So Colts, Bears, maybe the Raiders, and maybe some other teams could be in interest for Carson Wentz.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And Carson Wentz is a quarterback that still has something to prove if he wants to maintain in the league for a while. Definitely be on the lookout for Carson Wentz. But to go along with the Bears, because, I am obviously one of the fans.
Yes, you are, Kruck.
They have the 12th best defense, which is one less than the Colts. The Colts, if I was Carson Wentz, would be one of my favorite spots to go to. The Colts may not be able to offer the money that he is looking for. And if he's looking for money, he probably doesn't want to stay in Philadelphia because they just got rid of Doug Peterson, bringing in a new coach. And rumor has it, due to my official source, that Jalen Hurts might also be on the out for the Eagles. With that mentioned, we're going to head over to college hoops. What happened to Big Blue? For those who don't know Big Blue, we're talking about Kansas, Duke, UNC, and Kentucky. Take it away, Max.
Kruck, with COVID going on, it's been a crazy year for these Blue Buds, right? When I look at Kentucky right now, they are 5-13. When was the last time you saw Kentucky be 5-13, Kruck? I mean, to me, that's incredible. And Duke right now is 7-8. That's also very strange and different. And I look at teams like Michigan State, North Carolina. North Carolina's not doing bad. They're 12-6. They're still see if they can get on the cusp with some big-time wins, quad one wins they can get. And Michigan State as well. I mean, they got to figure out some quad one wins, help themselves out in the situation. I think a main reason for this all is because of the amount of fans at games, the limited amount of fans, and the atmosphere that these college kids are experiencing, right? I mean, when you have fans, you lean on them. They lean you. They help you with the game and how it flows and everything. And I feel like with the fans not there at Cameron Indoor, they have no fans. I mean, my dad always told a great story of he always liked to watch Duke and North Carolina games, and it was just all cool to see like the fans there. And now with not happening in Cameron Indoor, it's different and it's weird for all these players. So, I mean, when you look at it, I hope these teams can figure it out. Obviously, not their years right now, so we'll see what happens, man.
We definitely will. Speaking about Kentucky, they are 5-13 overall, 4-7 in conference. They're on a 4-game losing streak, so they're not looking too good as of late. Kansas, kind of the home team here at Kansas City. They're 8-5 in conference, but also 14-7 overall. They've been having a tough time playing on the road. Even without fans in the stadium, road games are still hard for a lot of teams. Duke is 5-6 in conference, and that's not a record Duke's very proud of. Duke is 7-8 overall and also on a 3-game losing streak. Duke, Kentucky, and Kansas have produced some of the greatest basketball players to ever play the game, but the greatest basketball player to ever play the game came from UNC, who's also not having one of their best years, 7-4 in conference, 12-6 overall. They're 3-5 away from home.
Wow.
Back when Michael Jordan and this guy named James Worthy played there, they were pretty good and ended up winning it all over Patrick Ewing, Georgetown.
Wow. And I mean, also when I look at the teams, right, and I mentioned it, I always mention now the day and the era of one-and-dones happening in college basketball and happening towards the NBA. A lot of players now, like the freshmen, they're trying to get right into the NBA, get the experience. Now with this year, it's a little different, right, because, they have that year. They're meeting all the players. They're trying to get used to the program because they know they got to impress themselves in order to get to the NBA and to the combine. So I think a lot of that, too, not having as much non-conference games is another huge part of that. Like some teams, they had to reschedule games, didn't have some of their non-conference with them, and it really affected how the team started. You know what I mean? How the team started and how they played. That's a big key in games like that, because big games and keys like that. And obviously injuries, right? We know they're always going to happen, right? So teams like Duke and Jalen Johnson, he had a foot injury. One of their star freshmen is going to be this way. So, and also for Kentucky, Terrence Clark, another guy, he also had a foot injury. So it was another big key loss for both of those two teams that wanted to, have the talent and repeat for the season.
And you did mention it, one-and-dones. You want to get to the NBA as fast as you can because that's where you make the money. And every single player, college, high school, Pee-wee, they always say, I want to be the greatest of all time. And they have the possibility of doing it. But you have to get to the NBA first to do it. And coming out of the blue, one of my favorite college teams to cheer for this year, Navy. Navy is 8-1 in their conference, 11-2 overall, and they're the top of the Patriot Conference. So definitely be on the lookout for them moving forward.
Yeah, look at Navy, and how about look at Alabama? I mean, everyone thought, did you think Alabama could be a basketball school, Kruck? I mean, now you think, they're a football school, now they're a basketball school, so that's another team to watch. And also watch out for my Ohio State Buckeyes. They got to be a team to watch, too. It could be a possible number 1 seed. Well, Kruck, we're also going to move on to another big trade in MLB this week. Reigning Cy Young winner Trevor Bauer has agreed to a 3-year, $102 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers. This deal came in consideration after possibly looking at other MLB teams like the New York Mets, who wanted to try to get a big rotation pitcher for their offense. Bauer last year with the Reds, he was 5-4, had a 1.73 ERA, and had 100 strikeouts for the season last year for the Cincinnati Reds. So, Kruck, how do you think this is going to help out the Dodgers and for them to possibly win another World Series?
Well, when I was doing my research, Max, I saw that Trevor Bauer was offered a $102 million contract for 3 years. The breakdown for that contract, the first year he gets $40 million. The second year he's going to get $45, and the third year is an option year that he's going to get $17 million. That same contract or similar contract was offered to him by the Mets. He must have wanted to go to the Dodgers because he asked the Dodgers to match it. 5 hours later, he signed the contract, and he's in L.A. The reigning Cy Young winner, as you mentioned, but the most important thing that came out of this trade, the updated Dodgers starting lineup. It's going to go Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Trevor Bauer, Dustin May, who you may or may not know, coming off a great rookie campaign last year. Then David Price and Julio Urias is going to fill in that 5th and or 6th spot if they go for all of them.
Wow, what you just said, they look stacked for the NL West. I mean, when you look at the NL West, right, Dodgers, Padres, maybe the Diamondbacks, all those 3 teams are interesting teams to watch in the NL West, which is the NL West has always been a competitive league every single year. I mean, the Dodgers are always there. Their pedigree's always there. You look at the Padres, they're trying to match with them with new pitchers and other things that are going to help him out with this season. I think one thing Trevor Bauer's got to work on is his off-field social media kind of presence that he has. If he really wants to be a great player, he's got to be able to do it on the field and both off the field. One time I found something, Kruck, that he got into a Twitter spat with a reporter one time. He got into a big fight with a reporter. And to me, again, some people are trying to back him up. Maybe there was something, he's Trevor Bauer, he's there, but you got to help yourself out, right? You can't do that kind of stuff in order to be at the highest level of pitcher and winning a Cy Young at your level this way. So that's a big key for him to, be the pitcher he wants to be.
And you mentioned it, the NL West, if you're looking to hit a home run, don't go knocking on their door. They have some of the best pitchers in baseball, ranging from Madison Bumgarner to Clayton Kershaw, from Trevor Bauer to now newly added Padre, Blake Snell. That is going to be one of the best divisions in baseball this year. Hands down, I'm predicting it. One Kruck prediction. NL West, be on the lookout. But moving forward, the team has retained a lot of players as well. The only player still in the air is the third baseman, Justin Turner, but people coming back, notable names like Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, Max Muncy. He's coming out of a breakout year as a first baseman. Will Smith, having a huge year last year as a catcher. Now there's 2 notable Will Smiths in California. You got Corey Seager, a great middle infielder, and then A.J. Pollock and Chris Taylor. Those 2 will be playing left field or center field, depending upon where Cody Bellinger wants to play that day. So that team is stacked both defensively and offensively. Could they repeat World Series, Max?
I think they can, Kruck. And here's why I think that is because, like you said, all those bats they have, and Bellinger and Muncy, and, they have the coach. Dave Roberts is still there. Dave Roberts is a great coach that really knows how to work with his players, work with the team, and make them better as an organization. And I look at other teams, too. When you mention that, you look at the NL Central, right? We look at teams like, the Reds and the Cardinals. We talked about Arenado last week with the Cardinals. Are they going to be a team to watch out for? And the Cubs. But the Dodgers, they know how to get players, right? They just know how to work it. And that's probably the reason because you're in L.A. You're in L.A., and that's a big, hub city for people to want to go at. So I think the Dodgers, to me, are, clear favorites to me to win the World Series.
Absolutely. Moving forward, Avila got 2 new sports and a couple new coaches. Avila has added wrestling and bowling to next year's fall sports list. What do you got on bowling, Max?
Well, so the new bowling coach, Kruck, is going to be Paul Wolf. What I learned a little about him is he's a 35-year bowling veteran. That's pretty cool, right, Kruck? He's been doing it for a long time. He was a coach, equipment manager, and a sales rep at his time, and also he's been a 4-time touring player in the PBA, the Professional Bowlers Association. That is very cool. So he's got a lot of experience, right? A lot of experience to help the women's and men's bowling teams here at Avila. Other cool stats I found about him is he's the son of a former professional bowler who was inducted into 7 bowling Hall of Fames. That's pretty incredible, right? You look at that. That's, like I said, he's got the pedigree. He's got everything you want to help this team out for the bowling. One last thing I found, Kruck, he's a 2-time inductee at the Kansas City USBC Hall of Fame. Again, you see a lot. What's the trend? Hall of Fame, seeing it's a lot of this way. So this guy's got, good experience. Watch out for the bowling team, man.
Absolutely. And the new wrestling team is going to be off to a great start as well, as they got a coach named Graham Carwath. Carwath thinks the team will be looking really good really soon. I recently spoke to him, and I got a quote from him, so I'll read it off. Graham Carwath said, "I feel really confident about the upcoming season, and he thinks he's going to have some good players coming in as well. They'll be starting their season in November of 2021. And fun fact, he used to coach at McMurray, which that college or university is now closed. Mm-hmm. And we actually have one of their football players on our team.
Right.
Taryn Williamson came from McMurray, which is kind of cool as well."
Yeah, that's very cool. I think I found some other cool facts about him too, Kruck. When he was there at college, right? He came from a good college, and he didn't actually do college wrestling, which is very interesting to me. He did high school wrestling, but he didn't do college wrestling. But he got a college assistant job. He was under this guy named Kerry Regner. Kerry Regner, he came from William Baptist University. It's a small town in Arkansas. I think that's very cool. It's like you don't see, like, when I see a lot of coaches, when they go to the college profession, they wanted someone that's done college wrestling. You got this way. You've done a lot of experience. But this coach said, I don't care what you did in college. I'm there to help you out. And if you work hard and you do the best I can, I want you on my team. That, to me, that sounds very cool. And I think that was a cool fact I found about him in this way. And I think that's something to watch with this team, is how is he going to bring that kind of style, that how he believes the team's going to be. Because wrestling, it's an intense sport, as we know. It's an intense sport, and I hope he makes a lot of changes here at Avila.
Well, with those 2 sports added, Avila's looking pretty good with the new fall resume coming soon. So make sure to check avilaathletics.com for up-to-date information and updates about everything that happens with Avila Sports.
Getting to that, Kruck, now we're going to start talking about some GOAT debates. So when we talk about football, Kruck, we have a little bit of agreement, right? We both agree it's like Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Tom Brady is that kind of guy. He's won a lot of Super Bowls, right? He's always there. You got any thoughts?
Absolutely. Tom Brady, pretty much 50-50 when it comes to the Super Bowl. He's got a better chance of making the Super Bowl than Steph Curry of making a 3. We mentioned that last year. But he's got 7 Super Bowl wins, 5 Super Bowl MVPs. He's been put in the All-Star game 14 times, 3 All-Pro teams. And he's got more rings than any NFL franchise in league history.
Wow. So, yeah, so what about NBA? I agree. I think it's Michael Jordan. Do you still think it's Michael Jordan?
Absolutely. Michael Jordan, 6 for 6. He sat out 2 of his best prime years to play baseball. Some people think it was a secret suspension from the commissioner, but as the ESPN movie has mentioned, it was not. Never was a thing. I also think he had the greatest coach of all time, Phil Jackson,
yes,
in my opinion.
I agree with you with that.
He stayed loyal to his team. He was with the Bulls through thick and thin. When he retired from the Bulls, only reason he played with the Wizards is because he owned part of the Wizards. The reason he started playing is because he knew the attendance was going down. He figured if Michael Jordan came back, people would start filling the stands again. And he was right. He brought that franchise back from pretty much nothing. He's got 5th most in NBA points. He's got 5 MVPs, 14 All-Star games, 10 All-NFL games, 10 All-NBA first teams, and he was Rookie of the Year his rookie year.
So, yeah, we see that Michael Jordan. Sorry, Lakers fans, and LeBron fans. We both believe it's Michael Jordan. And then in tennis, I think it's Serena Williams. You think it's Serena Williams as well?
Absolutely. Serena Williams has it going far and away.
And then now you see we all agree on 3 of them, but Kruck, now we disagree on 1. When we get to baseball, man, MLB, to me, I'm going to start off. I think Hank Aaron is the best baseball player, I believe, the GOAT of baseball. If you don't know, Hank Aaron played in the MLB for 22 years, from 1954 to 1976. He was the career leader in RBIs with 2,297, and he had 1,477 extra base hits and 6,856 total bases that he went around. He played in at least 25 All-Star games, and he's a 3-time Golden Glove winner and 4-time NL home run leader. All those stats right there tell you, to me, that he's really helps the team out, including that he's a great philanthropist, and he really helps out the community of Atlanta a lot.
Absolutely. I love the quote that Chipper Jones said. I'm not going to say it exactly because I don't remember it, but he basically said that everything that Hank Aaron had to go through, there's no reason that Hank Aaron should have been a happy, nice, go person. But he was. He was a nice guy. Do I think he's the greatest baseball player of all time? No. As I'm wearing my Seattle Mariners 1995 Ken Griffey Jr. jersey, I think Ken Griffey Jr. is the greatest baseball player of all time because he is a well-rounded baseball player. He had 630 home runs, just shy of 3,000 hits in his career. His batting average for his career was .284, and his slugging was .538. He had the second best fielding percentage out of any outfielder ever. He is the most well-rounded baseball player to ever play the game, with 13 All-Star games, a 1997 MVP, a 1992 All-Star Game MVP, and then 10 Gold Gloves.
Kruck, I mean, we have our disagreements. We have this way. But to me, again, Hank Aaron, first player. Also, he's had 500 homers and 3,000 hits. That's the first player to ever do that. Stat that I just found out as well. So Ken Griffey's a great player. I respect him, and he used to play for the Reds, so you know me and the Reds fans. I always like cheering for Reds, anything, so he's great. But like I said, I still think Hank Aaron is one of the best.
Well, we might just have to agree to disagree. But in hockey, we can most definitely agree that the greatest is the greatest, Wayne Gretzky.
Yep, no doubt. I agree with you there.
Wayne Gretzky with a total of 1,072 goals, having 1,963 assists, which totals up to 2,857 total points, most out of any player, and probably not going to be argued anytime soon. He has a career 21% shooting, which isn't something to bat an eyelash at. He has 10 Art Ross trophies. For those who don't know hockey, that means that for 10 seasons, he led the league in scoring. He's got 92 goals in the 82 season. That is a record. He's got 163 assists in the 86 season. That is a record.
Wow.
But the record that I don't think anybody's going to touch, 50 goals in 39 games. That record might be there for a long time.
It's incredible, Kruck. I agree with you there. Nothing more.
50 goals in 39 games is kind of like Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points in one game. But soccer, we might disagree on this one. We might not. Who's the greatest of all time, Max?
In soccer, it's very interesting. I think it's Lionel Messi. I think Lionel Messi, he's a great player, and he helps the team out a lot. There's also rumors right now that he's trying to go to the MLS, so we'll see what happens there when he goes over to the MLS. But to me, I think Lionel Messi is the best of all time.
I absolutely agree. My favorite stat for him, out of 17 seasons with Barcelona, he hasn't received a single red card. Well, it's been fun having you guys. Mad Max, Jacob Krukenberg. This has been Crunch Time with Kruck. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya.